AI is a reality, and if you look at the market and at the investments that are happening in AI and the capital valuation of companies who are in AI is really staggering. Now, what we have seen in the past few years is the emergence of AI and the whole agentic AI and Gen AI infrastructures. And the latest report of McKinsey would say that investments in AI infrastructure in 26, 27 is almost going to reach almost $40 billion, which is huge. Now, if you also dig deeper into what McKinsey is saying, is that majority of that investments today is happening on the AI compute, which is the learning. So AI, we have two modules. We have learning and inference. So today, majority of the investments are happening on the learning. This is the whole LLMs and the whole AI compute and GPUs. So maybe 80–90% of that investment is there. What McKinsey is expecting is that investment in AI digital infrastructure between now and 29, which is in 3 to 4 years, is going to reach $100 billion plus. Now, the thing is, what they are saying is there's going to be a big shift from the compute or the learning to the inference. 70% of this $100 billion is going to be into inference. Which is 2 to 3 times of the learning, because once you've done the learning, now you need the inference. So this calls for a different architecture, in how you are managing AI. So we are talking today in the change of what we call a hybrid fabric in AI, where you have the large compute islands, which is the main learning modules, complemented by the AI regional hubs, either country-specific or AI or sovereign AI, all that. Then into what we call the edge AI, the edge data center. So it's a full value chain. It's no longer enough to have the whole compute model, but you need to have the whole infrastructure. So this call for a completely different, for us as Equinix, we're a global operator, so we need to cater for the whole three. We need to cater for the large compute modules. We need to cater for the regional AI, but we also need to be at the edge. So that distributed fabric is going to be very essential for the emergence of AI and for the emergence of distributed AI. Now, what does this mean to operators? It means it's a variety. First, you will need to have heterogeneous designs, because the designs, when you're putting a large compute, is going to be completely different than when you have an edge data center, But at the same time, you will need to have kind of flexibility, and you need to move from even in your capacity planning, in your designs, in your cooling. So you will have kind of the whole heterogeneous, I would say, or a hybrid, and this is what we are implementing now in all of our data centers. So we have the traditional air cool, but we also have liquid cool to cater for a variety of workload, And I think this is what we are going to see, and this is how the industry is moving.
Kamil, that's a great point. And is the entire ecosystem, you mentioned multiple parties here, do you see that working here in the UAE Middle East? Are there any challenges in bringing them together?
I mean, that's a good question. This region has been in the forefront of the AI revolution. It's a period of history where the region has embraced AI, and it did not embrace AI as a fashion, Because if you look, for example, at UAE, the UAE appointed an AI minister 7 years back before nobody out of the big guys could spell the word AI.
Yeah.
So there was a vision. I mean, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You know. So for us in the region, it's not a hype. There is a big investment. There is a big momentum behind this. There is the government vision to become an AI leader, and this is now being, and you've seen all the large projects being implemented. We know that Stargate coming to the UAE, that's major, you know. I mean, Stargate, this is like the second after US. It's a huge, you know. The UAE government has put a pledge to give each of UAE resident a license to use to use ChatGPT. You know, so all of us, part of Emirates ID, will get ChatGPT. Why they are doing that? They are doing that because they want to increase adoption. They want to ensure that everybody is aware. There is a big drive from the government into learning, into education, into getting AI skills into the country. At the same time, the government is also helping the ecosystem to scale in terms of regulation, in terms of enabling startups to come and start their business here. And we have seen some of the early examples of UAE AI champions emerging, even though they were not coming from the AI background, but now they are kindly of AI enabled. And we've seen a lot of these companies, I don't want to say their names, but there are a lot of startups coming out of the UAE, you know, and scaling to a global level. And the UAE is not in isolation. We've seen the same in Saudi, where is the big push and the big momentum, you know, and we've seen all the major announcements. So the region is not taking this as a lightly. There is investments. There is billions and billions of dollars being put behind it. And our job as digital infrastructure provider, whether it's Equinix or Qareeb or Damak, is to provide the right infrastructure to enable AI to grow and scale. And, you know, I think we are also committed to put the investment to back that government vision to make sure that this region is not an AI laggard, but an AI leader.
Thank you, Kamer. Very informative. This question is to you, Troy. Damak Digital is into building multiple data center, providing multiple data center services, investing tens of billions of dollars in US when Trump announcement came in. So the question is, how will hyperscalers and service providers like yourself need to evolve to support AI-driven workloads and demands?
I think that the evolution of our data centers to support the distributed AI really is something as a bit of a two-stage event. Because currently, the focus for AI, as what was said before, is on the LLM and the training modules. Those are large data centers and campuses that have significant power, cooling requirements. And the next step behind that is, as we said, is the regional data center that will be able to support the end customer for that knowledge that's developed under the LLM model. And then behind that, you have, how do you reach the end customer? So that's sort of the edge play. We get into the edge, and now we're talking about how we can actually take the data that was developed, that was in the LLM training module, the knowledge that was distributed into the regional model, and then how we can get to that inference so that we can reach the edge devices, ultimately not only your phone, but maybe autonomous vehicles, anything that requires the GPU-driven data analysis. So ultimately, what we're trying to do is to be able to transition from the cloud regional formats to more of a shared model that supports our AI and edge infrastructure.
I also understood that you have a future provisioning of GPU as a service, and do you want to add more light onto that, on when that is coming and what kind of partners are you currently dealing with, so on and so forth?
Yeah, so GPU as a service for us, we have launched now Domec AI. And in Domec AI, the expectation for us is to be able to develop a platform that we can utilize the GPU service model in support of our existing infrastructure. The Domec portfolio of data center build-out is strategically placed around the world so that we can take a look at and be able to service ultimately not only the cloud, but the AI customers. The GPU as a service gives us an additional layer on top of our digital infrastructure to be able to offer that to an additional customer base. So we're looking forward to be able to bring into the additional customers that opportunity for GPU or platform as a service.
Thank you, Troy. This one is for you, Anna. There is a lot of global noise around AI factories everywhere. I mean, they are picking up. Now, with AI factories interacting with data centers and edge computing, now, do we see these edge and data centers as complementing, or are they becoming competition?
Sorry, the last one?
Competition. Are we competing?
Oh, yeah. No, it's definitely not a competition.
Yeah.
So I think it's complementary to each other. So at this moment, what you see is you have the AI, LLMs, we talked about it, training models and everything. And then, I mean, it has to be pushed down towards the edge co-locations and to our enterprise customers, everybody using the platform of Damac on AI. So I think we really need to have an edge platform in the region to be able for enterprises, government to use it. And that will change a little bit of the way of, I think, for selling as well towards customers, but also the relationship between data centers and customers and enterprises. For now, it was mostly like a vendor-customer relationship that you have like, oh, I need cloud, so you go to a cloud provider and you get your cloud. But now in a combination where you push everything to the edge, cloud and AI, it will be more like changing the value proposition. That I think the data center companies as well will be more like not a vendor, but more an intelligent partner of enterprise and government. So yes, everything will change in this way, and it's no competition. You
Wonderful.
need both. So I think that will be very interesting. It is a bit early on that stage, I think, because we're all working now on the AI ones, the bigger ones, and then the edge will be a little bit later, as you said as well, on the GPU services in your Damac AI ones on the edge platform. So you're, by the way, welcome to be in our data centers for that one. By the way, there's no problem.
Do you want to add anything, Troy, to what is said?
No, I mean,
compliment. Yeah.
So we echo the same when it comes to our architecture, that it's a complementary service. We will still support the cloud customer ultimately because that's really a piece that's, as we said, complementary to the GPU inference that's out there. Ultimately, the type of information that is presented is still utilized ultimately by the customer. So the customer is the one who drives our demand, and ultimately we will support both.
Thank you.
I can add a few words here. It's, by the end of the day, it all has to be centered around the customer and how to serve the customer. And enterprises today, as AI is becoming more and more AI application ready, because the key to adopt AI is to have AI applications, and this is where there is still work happening. So enterprises at a certain point of time will need things, for example, learning as a service, so they will need to tap into these AI factories to get some learning, AI learning workloads. Then they might need to go and use edge as a service or GPU as a service. And then you will need to go to the near edge. So hyperscalers and data center operators like us need to be able to serve the customer at the whole value chain. So from the learning to the, as I said, from the regional AI hub, because some of the application needs to be sovereign, that needs to reside into the country. And then you will need to have some application that require very low latency, as we said, your fridge will be AI enabled, your phone is AI enabled, then you will need to be at the near edge. So you need to be able to serve the customer at all the levels, and this is where you require this like fabric-based architecture and distributed architecture that allows you to optimize and orchestrate your capacity and your workload to serve your end enterprises.
Yeah, we agree. I think that's one of the models that we're trying to push us for as our platform as a service. That area of convergence where we have the developer, the customer, the hyperscalers, and the user all coming to be able to do business on the same platform is the idea.
Fantastic.
So latency will be extremely important. So yes, we need more internet exchanges, so that will change a little bit as well, I think.
Yeah, I think the next one is more kind of a brainstorming question. Maybe I will start with you, Kamil. Is what will it take for GCC from being a consumer of AI infrastructure to be able to supply globally as an AI innovator or AI innovations that it can supply globally? You want to take that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. We all think that the AI war is an infrastructure war. In my view, it's part of that because you need GPUs and you need infrastructure. But that's there, that's commercial. You can get it. If you don't get it now, you'll get it later. But what you really need is you really need the talent. And you need to localize the talent. So talents and developments are keys. And I know that the government is putting huge investments toward that talent development, And what I mentioned, having open ChatGPT available to everybody, to millions of people. This is one of the thing that is enhancing that. So this is very, very important. The second very key and important issue is regulations. How can you provide the regulations for the neo-clouds to be born in the Middle East, for the neo-AI startups to come and build their second billion-dollar business in this part of the world. We've seen some good examples from the region, and we've seen some good startups happening. But I think the more regulations is, and the last but not least, I mean, two more things. One is government investments. Government need to invest into this infrastructure. They need to enable. They need to help investors come in and invest, and everybody is willing, as you see here. People are willing to put billions of dollars in investments, And last thing is, I would say, open data policies, because you need, in terms of connectivity, in terms of data interconnection, and all boils down to creating that AI-enabled ecosystem that will allow the region to grow and thrive.
Yeah, I agree on that one. I mean, and also on the talent. I think that's extremely important, what you said as well, Kamal. I mean, have developers in the region who are able to build an open AI stack like Mistral, Falcon, or whatever in your own region would be extremely ideal if you can have that as well in the region.
Thank you. Troy?
Yeah, I think that echo all of the same sentiment. A couple of other pieces for us is that in data center development, in order to be able to really capitalize, it's availability of land, of course, availability of power, and then, as we said, open government business environment, so that we can be able to deploy all of those assets quickly. So those are the keys for us, to be able to move past.
Yeah, and absolutely, we could look at what is happening in the Middle East as well with Stargate and some of the investment OpenAI and G42 are doing together. It's a multi-billion-dollar investment, which is unheard of, which is happening in the Middle East. And thanks to all of you for ensuring that these points are addressed. Any future thing before we open up for some question? Because I'm sure this is a power panel and audience want to ask some questions, so we could give them 3-4 minutes.
I think one last sentence is that this region has a huge potential to lead in the AI. I mean, if you look globally, we said AI needs talent, we discussed that, needs regulation, but also needs infrastructure, it needs power. We have that, a lot. It needs land, we have that, also a lot, and we have capital. So putting all these together to create this AI ecosystem is, I would say, is an opportunity of a lifetime, and the region can really become a major player and a global AI hub. Thank you.
Thank you. I think some questions. Audience, if you have any questions, we could take 2 to 3 questions. Okay. All right, I think we are ending with questions because there could be some more.
I think it was so clear.
In the interest, one more question, in the interest of time. On the AI service requirements around data center operations, this one is to you, Troy. Now, AI getting into service operations and managed services, what is the impact on operations and resilience and scalability that you see in leveraging this AI for operations in data centers?
So from an operations perspective, operations is primarily the same from between cloud and AI, because you're still ensuring that you have the highest resiliency, the highest redundancy, the highest uptime requirements. None of those factors are ever going to change in your SLA requirements. What you would need to be able to see, to be able to understand, is that once you move from the LLM training modules and get out into the edge performance there, and then it's how do you manage that from an operational perspective, those remote regions. Because when you're in a large campus environment, of course, from a cost perspective, operations is easy for us to manage. Regional as well, quite a few different supporting vehicles are able to go there. But then when we get into the edge, we will have to be able to expand our supply chain and network to be able to support those other operations. So it'll continue to, the economy will continue to evolve around the data center space.
And have we seen this operational here in the UAE?
At this point, no. The operation is still within the large hub and spoke version, but not into the extreme edge small data centers.
Clear. Anna, do you want to add anything?
I had an extra question. So is it on the build out of the data centers, do you see that you need more flexibility in your data center? So like that you can have like the air-cooled one, the liquid-cooled ones. Do you see that is really common at the moment, that the demand is there? Or is the liquid-cooled, it's starting, but it's not there yet, but is it, how are you going to do that on the build out of your bigger data centers?
I think the architecture will again go back to changing to flow along with the customer demand requirements. Mm-hmm. Currently, it is a cloud demand environment that's transitioning into AI demand. And as AI demand continues to take over, then probably the mix or the ratio or the responsibility within the DC could definitely change. Yes.
Yeah.
Kamal, anything?
Yeah. I mean, in the UAE, we have, between us and our partner, we have almost 5 data centers. And within these data centers, we have are managing AI workloads with some of the major players. And our operations team are doing a great job in ensuring that we have a heterogeneous and hybrid environment. My friend here, Gordon, is, say hello, Gordon. He's our head of operations, and he's laughing because he knows what I'm talking about. So we manage these workloads. So we have air-cooled AI workload. We have liquid-cooled AI workload with our partners. So we're managing that, and it's very important to have this kind of optimized architecture and to build your data center for the future. Because, I mean, few years back when we were talking a 4-5, I'll be a bit technical, 4-5 kVA rack, that's the standard. 2 years back, like 20 kVA rack was big. Now we're talking 50, 60, and some other people are talking 100 kVA racks. So you will need to build your data center in a hybrid architecture that will allow you to adapt to the future workload. And and a data center is, you don't build a data center for 1 or 2 years. You build a data center forever. So this data center needs to have the capacity and the capability to scale with the coming up workloads. And this is what we're doing in our design. So it's all very much hybrid design that allow for multiple workloads, whether it's a cloud, AI, or typical compute. And now there is a big topic that we are not discussing here. It's we're going beyond AI computing to quantum computing, and quantum computing require a complete different set of skill sets, you know. And for example, we've put quantum computing in some of our data centers in Europe, in Amsterdam, in London, in Paris, and you know, so you need to be ready for the future, you know. I mean, in this business, we say you don't have a crystal ball. You need to have a crystal ball, because if you don't do that, billions of dollars of investments are going to be wasted, and you need to retrofit and redesign, and that's not an easy thing, you know. I'm trying to retrofit my house, and it's causing me a major disaster. So talking about retrofitting or redesigning a data center, that's like mission impossible. So you need to make sure that you have the capacity to accept these workloads for now and for the future.
Fantastic.
Speaking about not only rack densities, but sizes of data centers themselves. Those that have been around data centers for a very long time remember that 1, 2, maybe 5 megawatts was a big DC, and then we got into 20, 30. Those were huge to us. Now you're looking at data center campuses that are up to 3 to 5 gigawatts.
Absolutely.
So we're looking at not only rack densities, but power and IT requirements that are significantly huge. So scaling, as you agree, is a significant challenge for us.
And I know that times is up, but last note, and then when we're talking about that, I mean, now stand of 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 megawatt data centers, it tells you that the grid is not going to be able to cope with that. So you need to find alternate power. And I don't know if you read in the news few months back, Equinix has signed a deal to provide SMR, small nuclear reactors, to power our AI data centers in the US. And this technology is coming up in Europe, it's coming up everywhere. So it's very important not just build these AI factories, but they need to be sustainable, and they need to be able to cater for that huge power demand.
Fantastic. Thank you, gents.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add at the end, it's important that for the enterprises, the customers, that everything will change with AI, that the value proposition will change, and they're going to use it. So I'm really looking forward what they all can do on their part on the AI, despite how we build it and everything. But at the end, it's the customer to see how they're going to use it and evolve in that one.
Fantastic. AI is here to stay. Thank you all. Thank you, gents and ladies.